Hi, everyone. John Michael Coppola here, and welcome to the Chicago Theater Makers Podcast, where we chat with the actors, directors, choreographers, designers, producers, music directors, lyricists, playwrights, and all the artists who make the Chicago area theaters come alive. We're so excited to have you here with us today. But before we get started, we just want to remind you to please like, subscribe to, and share this podcast with your friends and colleagues who you think would appreciate the conversations we're having. We'd be so grateful for your support in this way so we can continue to bring these stories for years to come. Thanks again for being here, and now, curtain up on today's episode. I first met today's guests when I was 17 years old while they were singing with the Rochelle Opera Company, which my mom ran for 40 years. When I moved to Chicago in 2007, they hadn't yet returned to the city. But ever since they have, it has been my extreme pleasure to become as close as family, which is why it is such a thrill to have them on today's episode as we continue our series celebrating National Cabaret Month. Hailed as absolutely fearless, cabaret singer Cindy Firing is a graduate of Pennsylvania State University's theater department. She honed her stage skills in Off-Off Broadway and opera houses before succumbing to the seduction of cabaret. Cindy's first solo cabaret, Brass Ring, enjoyed successful runs in Chicago at Davenport's and in Philadelphia at Dino's Backstage. She followed up that success with her celebrated solo show titled You and I, Cindy Firing Pays Tribute to Barbra Cook, receiving rave reviews from audiences and critics in New York City, Chicago, and Provincetown. Her first duet endeavor, Carry On, along with singer Josephine Sanges, was described as reminiscent of a legendary, albeit fictional pairing of Julie Andrews and Barbra Streisand, providing madcap humor and fun for the whole audience. She is a member of Actors Equity Association, the Chicago Cabaret Professionals, and the Manhattan Association of Cabarets. In 2024, she spread her artistic wings to direct Husband and our second guest today, Alex Magno, in his highly praised debut show. Alex joined the Chicago Cabaret Professionals 3 years ago, making a splash with his solo show, Alex Magno, The Richest Man in Town, which features songs and stories about things money can't buy. His singing career began in Chicago, where he sang with the Lyric Opera for 7 years, and from there moved to New York, where he sang with the Metropolitan Opera Supplemental Chorus for 14 years. During the off-season, he sang many roles with regional companies in and around New York City, and eventually, he and Cindy started and ran the Inwood Opera Company in Upper Manhattan for 5 years. Hospitality always in his blood. After his years in the opera, he returned to Chicago to open a restaurant with his friend Phil Stefani. It was there that cabaret filled his desire to continue singing. Nowadays, this spirited baritone enjoys playing host whether on stage or at home. I hope you enjoy my conversation with my dear friends Cindy Firing and Alex Magno. Now let's go to the top of the show. Oh, my dear friends Alex and Cindy, so nice to see your faces. How are you?
Oh, we're great, John.
Good, thank you.
Amazing. Thank you so much for being part of my special series on Cabaret Month for the month of March. We have a little tradition here on the podcast. We always like to ask our guests the same thing at the very top of each show, and that is to tell our listeners a little bit about your background, a little bit about your training, and what your first theater or cabaret experience was. And since you also are both from the opera world, it could be opera related. There's no wrong answer. And we're going to start with ladies first.
Oh, okay.
Always ladies first.
Yeah. Well, so I was born. No, kidding.
Please, all of that.
No. No, I grew up in Pennsylvania. I knew in high school that I fell in love with theater and wanted to be performing and part of productions. I went to school at Penn State University and became a theater major with performance as my emphasis. I did a lot of things with the music department because at that time Penn State did not have a musical theater program. So I was kind of walking both sides of the fence, and they had a student organization that did musicals. So I was in all those productions, which was super fun. And then what happened? I ended up getting my first professional contract in Allentown, Pennsylvania for a now defunct regional theater, where I earned my equity card and did lots of school tours. And then I worked at a Renaissance fair, so that was good improv training.
Yeah.
And then I moved to New York City, which is where I really felt like I was home, like I'd found, I don't know, my people there,
Mm-hmm.
and auditioned for lots of stuff. Um, did a couple off Broadway things and had a blast doing them. Always had what I always refer to as a survival job. That is the job that helps you afford your passion.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then the more I started studying and the more I became disenchanted with my body not matching my voice and not really getting things, feeling like I didn't fit in as any kind of type in the theater, I decided opera would be a much better path for me.
Hmm.
So,
Why do you laugh? Why?
well, as though I thought it would be easier.
You're so wonderful at opera though. That wasn't a wrong move.
No, I'm not saying it was wrong. I just think it was a little foolish and naive
I
to
see.
think that it would be easier or that, things would come easier
I
to
see.
me.
I see.
So,
That it was based on talent.
well, anyways, I ended up really enjoying opera. Is where and how I met Alex. Um, I enjoyed many a production at a little company called New Rochelle Opera. You might know something about that.
I've heard of them.
Yes, yes. And we also founded our own company after we met and got married, called Inwood Opera. We worked a lot in Brooklyn, so we were kind of like doing all of the boroughs. I had a couple of cool international gigs, and then eventually, Alex got a job offer here. I'll let him elaborate about that.
Okay.
But that led us here, and eventually I met the cabaret folks and started making my path in that medium.
Wonderful. All right, Alex. So you're on deck. She said that you were the one that got the job offer here, but let's start from your humble beginnings and see how you wound up here.
Well, I'm Italian, so I think I actually immigrated here when I was 5. So in my heritage, there was always food and music and entertainment, which is kind of the path that I followed my whole life. I did start in high school, like Cindy. I was doing a couple of musicals, and then when I graduated from college, I was taking voice lessons in college. Hated opera, but I took in my last year of college, I took a voice lesson with an opera voice teacher, and I fell in love with it. I graduated from college. I did student teaching for a couple of weeks.
Wow.
Wasn't a good fit for me. I auditioned for the lyric opera, got hired in the supplementary course, and the next year I was full-time chorister for 7 years. Then I went and did some auditions regionally. I got hired by the Virginia Opera Company. I was there for a year and a half. That's when I was told that I needed to move to New York. You got to move to New York. So I moved to New York. I had a little bit of a setback because of a car accident. A friend of mine was driving, so that kind of threw me off the solo path that I was on. But I ended up singing with the Metropolitan Opera supplementary chorus for 13 years. I kept trying to get in the full-time chorus, but very difficult. I think in those 14 years, 3 or 4 people quit, and those jobs were hard to get. But anyway, it was a wonderful experience. And during that time, I was singing with other smaller companies, with New Rochelle Opera, where I met your mom. I loved opera. I loved singing, and I did it until I realized I wasn't getting any more roles, and I figured, okay, they want younger, prettier. Well, not that I wasn't pretty.
You're still
They
pretty.
they wanted younger people in the opera. So I decided that it was time to open a restaurant. So Cindy and I came up with this business plan to open up a restaurant in Manhattan. And I reached out to a friend of mine here in Chicago, who is a big restaurateur, Phil Stefani. You probably know him.
Yes.
And we decided, Phil and I and Cindy, to come to Chicago and open up a restaurant here based on opera, jazz, and flamenco. So we came here, we moved here, and that was in 2008, which you would probably remember is not a very good year to open up restaurants.
Yes.
So long story short, I worked with Phil for 5 or 6 years, and then I opened up another restaurant with a couple of partners of mine, and during that whole time, I missed singing. I was singing in the restaurant. I would just break out into song. People liked it. I didn't do opera anymore just because I didn't have the time.
Yeah.
And then Cindy got involved with cabaret, talked me into doing some cabaret, which was very different from anything I had done before.
Yeah.
But I tried it. I loved it. And I wasn't afraid to sing in front of people. I wasn't afraid to sing in front of 1,000 people. But to sing cabaret was a whole new art form for me. It was challenging, but at the same time rewarding and fun. So I've been doing that, I think, for about 4 years now.
Incredible.
Yeah,
Time flies.
about 4 years. So I came into the world of cabaret through opera.
Yeah.
That's a long story.
Yeah. Now, Cindy, what was it that attracted you and wanted you to take a shot at doing cabaret? Because it is very different and it is a very intimate medium, and you both have the experience of performing for such larger houses. So I'm just curious what attracted you to take it on the small scale.
I think what first precipitated it was just moving here in 2008 and not having any kind of operatic connections here.
Oh.
And to start over at that point in my life seemed, well, nearly impossible. It was interesting to me when I moved to Chicago. This is double-edged sword, right? The people here have a much better sense of work-life balance, which is great on the one hand, but when you are trying to find people to work with and they are busy and not the same, like, oh, I can squeeze you in at 9 p.m., which would happen in New York. It was very hard building like artistic connections.
Yeah.
And along the way, I created a company here called Hush Opera. And it was interesting because I was performing it at Alex's restaurant. They had a private space upstairs on the second floor. You were there. And we
That was great.
created actually cabaret experiences with opera and like American songbook shows. And I was trying to educate people who really weren't necessarily an opera crowd about opera. And I think I had like, I don't know, 7, 8 different shows that we did there. And as I was doing that, I would meet a few different people that were from the cabaret world. And they started saying, you should do this. You should do this. And after about the 4th one, I was like, well, maybe I'll check it out, you know?
Yeah.
And at that time, the Chicago Cabaret Professionals, which is an organization here that is a great resource for anyone wanting to enter the cabaret realm.
Yeah.
They had a program at that time called Strut Your Stuff. So anybody who was new could say, hey, I'd like to be a part of a Strut Your Stuff. And it was just a 3-song set. And there were like 4 or 5 performers would go on the same night. And so that was my very first cabaret experience.
Oh my God. That's super fun.
Yeah, and it was super fun. It was a little addicting, daunting though, to come from no amplification to learning how to use a microphone. That was, I think, the scariest part, you know. I was
That didn't even dawn on me that that's a skill set you had to sort of learn.
Yeah.
Another art.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like I get singing close to people and being real with people and telling stories and singing in my own American tongue, right? Like thinking in English. But it was like, what is this thing and how close am I supposed to stand? And it felt disingenuous when I was holding it, you know, like it was strange at first.
Yeah, that's stuff that I didn't even think about in that making that transition from one medium to another. And now, Alex, so Cindy, in way of her answer, gave us what her first cabaret experience was. I know what your first cabaret experience was, but what was your first theater experience or opera experience that really made you decide you wanted to do something having to do with art? You said you were doing it in high school, but was that really what made you want to do it? Or was it there a later experience in life that you said, you know what, that's the thing I'm doing?
That's a great question, John, and that's really making me think far back, like a long way back. I think it had to be that first lesson that I took, where I didn't realize that I really had a voice that was had the potential to sing opera.
Nice. That
I really didn't understand what opera was, because before that it was just all choir. But honestly, you know, anybody that sings opera, you have to have a lot of sound. You have to have a lot of power.
Yeah.
To be able to get over the orchestra get over 80, 100-piece orchestra and sing into a huge house with no microphone. Matter of fact, that was one of my biggest challenges getting into cabaret, was I was so used to singing with so much power
Yeah.
that it was all about the voice, and it wasn't about the story. It wasn't about the connection.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I wasn't myself. I
Right.
was Count de Luna, or I was Rigoletto, or something like that.
Yeah.
So to answer your question, it was something that it was like validation from the teacher, and listening to myself sing in this room, going like, "Holy shit! I've never sung any kind of music like this before," and this was fun, and it was in Italian, and
Yeah.
I never thought I could do it. So when you're challenged with something you don't think you can do, and then you do it, it's exciting. There were many roles that I did that I remember the first role I did with a full orchestra. I did New York Grand Opera. I did a Bohème in Central Park, and it was the first time I sang with a full orchestra,
Oh
not
gosh.
10-piece band or 20-piece band, but we're talking about a 60-piece band, and that was like, holy smokes! This is a real professional. My first real professional job.
Yeah.
That was pretty amazing when you're singing without a microphone for 2,000 people.
Yeah.
So yeah, there were some cool things that I was very lucky to experience, but still not as scary as my first cabaret show.
Yeah. No, we're definitely going to get to that. Do you remember the name of the person, that teacher from way back when, or maybe some other influential people?
I do. It was Ronald Combs. Ronald Combs.
Wow. Yeah.
Teacher right here in Chicago.
Yeah.
Yes,
I studied with Ron.
Here.
I studied with Ron. I didn't realize he was your teacher.
Yeah, my first one.
We never chatted about that. How bizarre. He
Well,
was wonderful. And Dan is also wonderful. Is still
Right,
with us,
right.
still teaching. Yeah. I reached out to him not too long ago, right before I started my show here in town. We actually could not find a schedule that would work. So I said, look, it's been a while since I've had to sing 8 shows a week. I just need to know that I can find my musical theater voice again, because I haven't done it in a while. And he was like, oh yeah. And just 2 ships passing in the night, never got it together. But Ron was wonderful. Wonderful.
John, what you just said now is so true. To find your theater voice,
yeah,
is it's a whole art form.
Yeah.
The operatic voice is a whole nother art form. The support, the power, all that. But to tone that down and actually be able to tell the story and not worry about the voice, but worry about the story.
I don't know.
I don't know
how y'all would get the opera voices out. That was something that's still, even though my mom was, an opera singer herself, it's just something I could never wrap my brain around. Nor did I ever really try in earnest, but I never really had the desire to, and really just always fascinated me. So I
don't think an opera singer can do what you do, John.
This is you've always been my favorite, Alex. This is not a show, but it's not a podcast about me. So Cindy, do you have any people in your life that were influential to you that you can remember that you'd like to talk about?
Yes. Well, Carol Kirkpatrick was a voice teacher of mine. I just got to say, all of my voice teachers taught me something that I took with me. And so I'm grateful for my teachers. Carol sticks out because she was not only a voice teacher, but a mentor in life and in the business. And so there were things I learned about myself from her that actually helped me in all of my artistic endeavors, because she made you think about what your mission was and what your values were, and then to be congruent and know yourself and be yourself. And that's lots of valuable lessons in that little studio. And the other person that comes to mind, a music director that I worked with when I was like 23 for 2 shows. And then we fell out of contact. And about 25 years later, our paths crossed again, and we reached out to one another. And I had just started doing my first full debut show. And he said, "Well, what's next for you? What's next for you?" And I said, "I don't know." He goes, "What do you mean you don't know? Like, there must be something going on." Well, I don't know. I think I'm too old, you know? And he was like, oh yeah, you're too old. Yeah, okay. So anyway, what are you gonna do? So he really like
I love it.
just made me feel like I still had stuff to say, still had stuff to do,
Yeah.
and kind of kicked me in the pants, which I really appreciated. And it was just so lovely that the person that did that was someone who knew me when, and just got like the full picture of who I was. So
Did you give us did you give us their name?
oh, I don't know, John Cook. He ended up music directing 2 of my shows.
Now, he wasn't related to Barbara Cook, was he?
No, but wouldn't it be fun if he was?
Well, because that's a great segue to my next question, which was about your solo debut cabaret, which was you and I, City of Irony Plays, a tribute to Barbara Cook, of course. What inspired you to do a tribute to Barbara Cook?
Well, in truth, I just have to set the record straight. It was my first New York City debut cabaret performance, but
Thank you for clarifying.
I had done one prior here in Chicago and Philadelphia. So something about cabaret to know, if anybody out there is an aspiring cabaret person, is that you're self-producing. Pretty much. I mean, unless you're super lucky, right? But if you're starting out and you're not a big Broadway star name, you're probably self-producing, which is what I do. And my first show wasn't a tribute show.
Okay.
And of course, all my friends and family came to see my shows, which was lovely. But if you want to try to reach a broader audience, it can be a smart thing to think about, well, how can I draw in people that don't know me? And so to do a tribute show is one way to attempt to do that. And so when I was thinking about who would I pay tribute to, I thought of sopranos, people who had been on Broadway. And the most natural choice for me was Barbara Cook, not only for those reasons and because she's uber talented and like had a vast range of songs that I could choose from.
Yeah.
But I had actually met her. And yes. And
Where'd you meet her, Cindy?
well, thank you for asking. So I know you know this too, John, but the story is that when I was singing opera, I was sang quite a few roles for your mother's company. And every year, the New Rochelle Opera Company would pay tribute to a different luminary as part of a fundraising gala. And the year that they paid tribute to Barbara Cook, I got a call and they said, "Will you sing on the program?" And I was like, "Oh, wow. Yes. Thank you for asking me. I'm so excited." And there were, I think, 4 or 5 different singers. I was one of them. And so I said yes. And then, I started thinking about what I was going to sing. And then I got another call and they said, "Oh, by the way, we want you to sing Glitter and Be Gay." I was like, "What?"
Your signature song.
Just a little song. Yeah.
I said, that isn't really my flock. I'm more of a lyric soprano,
Yeah.
We need you to sing the song. I was like, oh, okay. So I tried my damnedest and I did it. And I was maybe a little nervous. I am very happy that there is no evidence of what actually happened that night. But all I know is that I had enough courage to approach Barbra after the performance was over.
Yeah.
And she was so nice and so kind and gracious that I just relaxed. And we sat down together. She invited me to sit at her table and we just chatted. And we just chatted about life and stuff. And it was just lovely that someone who is such a luminary would make time to talk to someone that attempted her very best to pay homage to her work. And so in the middle of my show, I kind of recreate that moment. And I just had the mini version of this, and I don't know. Well, I think it's gonna, right.
Bring it forward. That's incredible.
So that's me and Barbara Cook, and she signed my music, and I think it might be too hard to read, but she said something like, wait, let me read it.
Yeah.
Dear Cindy, don't make those ha-has too smooth. So she gave me a little advice.
She gave you a note, is what she did. That's hysterical.
Right.
Yes, she did.
And you better believe in my cabaret show, I employed it.
Oh my God, I am catching my breath over here. That is too funny. You want my signature? Sure, here's the signature along with a note on how to do it better. Boom. Oh my God. I love that story. And I didn't know the story. You said I knew it. I didn't know that story.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, I thought you knew that I was okay.
Oh, I knew you were saying at the gala, but I didn't know that story about you meeting her. She's sounding that she music. I've been to your house a bunch of times, and sadly I didn't see your cabaret because the night you did it in New York, I was flying in and my flight got delayed, and then my cab had to drive me across town, and I only heard the last 5 minutes through the door. I don't know if you remember that. I tried to make it.
A great show, John. We have it on video. It was a great show. I think I saw it 3, 4, 5 times.
At least,
I was the understudy. I was the youngest.
I don't know if Alex is my biggest fan or my mother. They're like,
they duke it out, right? Yeah.
She deserves it. It was a great show.
I know. You're both wildly talented individuals, so it's no surprise for me. And, now that we've learned about Cindy's background and transitioned into cabaret, Alex, I want to talk about yours because you made your debut in cabaret at the celebratory age of 70. You put that in your intake form and you wear your age proudly. I know you as a person, and you're very proud of your age, and you've got so much life and so giving and loving to your friends and family. So I want to know, what made you decide, you know what, I've been a patron of the cabaret scene all this time. I want to get up there and do it. And your cabaret debut show was, of course, called The Richest Man in Town, which could not have been more of an apropos title because, as I said, you're such a warm and giving person who likes to host people in your home.
Well, I had, honestly, I threatened to do a show. I wanted to do a show. But it scared the bejesus out of me to do a show.
Yeah.
Because I've never done one before. I knew there was a lot of work involved in it. I didn't know how much work. I didn't know how to get started. I didn't know what to do. And a friend of mine told me, just make the date. Claim the date. Make it a year from now, and then you'll start working.
Yeah.
So I couldn't have done it without Cindy. She was my director. And I'll tell you, I really couldn't have done it without her. She wrote most of my patter. We put the show together, matching songs with patter, weaving a story through it. And it was The Richest Man in Town, songs and stories about things that money can't buy.
Right.
Well, obviously it was about friendship and love and food and dance and everything that I told you earlier, that being Italian, I have all these things in me, and they all came out in the show. When I got on the stage, it was like I hadn't worked at all. It was so much fun, John. It was so much fun.
We were there. That one I did catch.
But all the rehearsing and everything up, it was scary. I was the first time you ever sing in front of people. It was, cabaret is communicating in a close proximity. It was like being naked in front of everybody. I wasn't a guy dressed up like a count or a clown or anything like that. It was me, Alex, in front of everybody. I was prepared when I got on stage. I knew I was prepared. I was ready to do the show. But it was daunting, and I was afraid to do it. Now it's like, oh, okay, I know what to expect. I know this is going to take a lot of work. I'd like to remount the show and do it again and change some of the songs and some of the music. But to answer your question, once I said to Cindy that I'd like to do a show, that was it. I had to do the show. And I don't know if I was 70 or 71 when I finally did it.
Yeah.
It was originally going to be called The 70-Year-Old Virgin.
That would have been really cool as well.
Yeah.
And people would have started to wonder, though, isn't he been married to Cindy for so long? Like, what's going on over there?
Well, we don't have kids.
This is true. You don't. So who's to know? And this is an adult podcast, by the way, so that's okay. We could talk about things like that.
But the whole process was amazing, and Cindy was a great director.
Yeah.
Working with somebody working with your wife, somebody that knows you that intimately, she brought out the best of me. She knew exactly what I could do. We butted heads a couple times, especially when we were doing the opera medley. It was about a 12-minute medley.
Yeah.
That was up against the opera singer by Cake. I don't know if you know that. Do you know the opera singer by Cake? I am an opera singer. How's it go?
Just suffice to say, it's a novelty kind of song,
Okay.
group cake, and it's
Okay.
about an opera singer, and
I am
it's a
opera
very
singer.
monotone kind of song.
Okay.
And on painted tape, it tells me where I'm going and where to throw my cake. And then I would go into the Toreador aria,
Right.
right? And part of that, then tell the story of how I met Cindy doing Carmen. And then I'd sing another little part of the cake opera singer part.
Oh,
Then I
gotcha.
throw in a little bit of Rigoletto, tell the story. So the whole thing was about 10, 12 minutes.
Yeah.
And it turned out to be the highlight of the show.
Yep.
And it was well, I don't know about the highlight, but one of the highlights of the show. And I was fighting Cindy against it, but she saw the potential of me pulling it off. She saw the potential of the fun of pairing opera with the cabaret and making it work. And that's the beauty of cabaret.
Yeah.
You can sing in a foreign language. You can sing opera as long as it fits the story of what you're trying to tell.
Yeah.
As you know, it worked.
It did famously. It was a wonderful night, and I really hope you do revive it again. I think more people should see it. What is it like working with your wife when she's the one sort of taskmaster, telling you cut this, change this? Does it create strain at home?
He loved every second. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, honestly, as an artist, you know yourself, you want to have your own artistic freedom.
Sure.
And sometimes you see things a little bit differently than the director or the musical director or the conductor, but you work it out. There's usually the best way to do something.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe your way is not the best way. It might be a good way to do it. So you experiment, you try both ways. And at some point, between my wife, the director, and me as the actor, the singer, we had to compromise.
Yeah.
And 99 out of 100 times it was her way.
But because it was, but because it was the right way, or because.
Yes.
Okay, good. See, that's the right answer, Alex. Right,
Because it was the right way.
Do either of you have any favorite cabaret or opera or theater experiences that you've witnessed or have been a part of that really stayed with you?
Oh,
So,
yeah, I know this is going to sound corny, but when Cindy did her Barbra Cook show, it was a fantastic show.
Yeah.
I saw it at least 3 or 4 times. I went to Provincetown to see it. It was a great show. You did a great show. You were in great vocal form, like you always are when you perform, and you had a flair about it, and the stories were fantastic. And the greatest thing was I walked away knowing so much about Barbra Cook and experiencing what Cindy went through.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, the trick of doing a tribute show is not just being entertained, but walking away going, oh my God, I didn't know that about Barbra Cook.
Yeah.
And I heard that from other people that did not know Barbra Cook. They couldn't wait to get home and look her up on Wikipedia and start listening to her music because they were so intrigued and didn't know this person.
Yeah.
And how can you not know this person who created all these roles off Broadway?
Sure.
It was a great show.
My mom's going to have to try real hard now to be the #1 fan.
That's right.
It was a great show.
A couple come to mind. If I don't have time for all of them, that's cool. But
yes, you do.
Oh, okay. So the first one that came to mind was the very first Christmas concert that the Chicago Cabaret Professionals does every year as a charitable event. We always call it Merry Measures. And it was the first one since COVID had happened.
Okay.
And we were gathering for the first time to do this, and we had not done it for 2 years.
Yeah.
And in the finale, the director, who wasn't me, had suggested that the cast go out into the audience and kind of create a circle. And we started to sing Silent Night. And it was so moving. I'm getting verklempt just talking about it.
That's okay.
And the people on either side of me, we just looked in each other's eyes, and it was just like magnets. Like we all just reached for each other's hands.
Yeah.
And I think it just typifies what cabaret can do anyway. It is to, from my definition, it's a communion of souls, right? Because it's an intimate thing. You are being yourself.
Yep.
And you are trying to reach out and share and relate to your audience. And so that moment was very emotional and electric, palpable, I think, for both the audience and for all of us as singers.
Sure.
Um, there was another performance, and this is, I don't know, might not be exactly what you're looking for here, but I think it's worth us talking about.
Please.
Last summer, I got to be a part of the Eugene O'Neill Cabaret Conference
Yes.
as one of the participants. It's like, think about like an adult go away camp for like your favorite thing to do. That's kind of like what it is, but it's
Fun.
like hugely intense and at a very high professional level. And every night we got to bear witness to other the big professionals in the business doing their thing. John McDaniels was at the piano, John Lloyd Young. In the middle of the show, the power went out. It's just like this really big like barn, like beautifully outfitted theatrical barn. And for a minute, it was like, oh, like what's gonna happen, you know?
Yeah.
But it was one of the most incredulous experiences because John took a breath and then they both just, everybody did their job. Not only did they continue, the music continue entertaining this large audience that came, but every other person, like ninjas, came out, crawled on the floor, replugged things in, and it was just seamless. And there was something there again about the sense of community
Uh-huh.
in theater and in cabaret, um, where everybody's working towards a common goal so that people can have a shared experience. And I I like cried that night just at just the beauty of being able to be that there are these organizations that still exist and are
Mhm.
committed to
Mhm.
doing that. It was just, you know, the performances were spectacular. I don't mean to take away from his show that night, but there was something about that moment that I'll never forget.
Thanks for sharing that. I knew you had gone. You had mentioned to me you did want to do the O'Neill thing and that he was there. But again, this is a little story that we never got to talk about to the very end because we always, when we're at your house for dinners, we start talking and then, oh, dinner's ready. And our story's never finished. So
Yeah.
I'm glad to know the end of that. What advice would you give anybody who wants to pursue a career in the arts, be it opera or theater or cabaret? We're going to stick with you, Sydney. What kind of advice would you offer them?
I think it would be what my mentor, Carol, had taught me, which was to know thyself.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think some people might start. I mean, if I'm being completely honest, I think it was twofold. Like when I was in high school, you know, it was being a part of a community and telling a story and the excitement of that.
Mm-hmm.
And it was also like, I love the applause. You know, it's like
Yeah.
it's just like, oh wow, people like me. They really like me. That kind of, you know, thing that applause can do. Um, and I think now applause is an indicator that it's like a job well done, that
Mm-hmm.
you've done your job well. But it is those values that the important thing is making a connection and telling a story and entertaining, sharing, um, maybe even learning something, you know, whatever the play or the cabaret or the musical is what that purpose is.
Yeah.
To pay attention to the lyric or the word, because there is usually in most things a point,
Yes.
or several points.
Yeah.
Uh, so that's, I think, along the way, being true to myself helps me be true to the character and my role in this larger picture.
What about you, Alex? What's some advice you'd like to give aspiring artists?
Well, I mean, the first thing I can think of is play the piano. Uh, the piano covers the entire orchestra. If you
Wow.
can learn to play the piano just well enough to pound out the notes of some songs that you might learn, that would be great. Even a little electric piano would be great. And it's up to the parents to really expose their children to something like learning the piano. As a young adult, somebody that's interested in music, I would say also experience as much music as you possibly can, as much live music.
Hmm.
Listen to the different people that you like. I mean, I didn't have YouTube growing up, and you know yourself, you go to YouTube, you find one singer that you like, famous Broadway singer that's a baritone, and all of a sudden you're listening to 20 different Broadway baritone singers
Yeah.
or sopranos, and you find one that you like, you learn their repertoire, you start listening to the music. I can't tell you how many friends of mine have asked what got you started singing. And it was, oh, I was listening to John Raitt, or I was listening to whoever. This is the person that got me started because I loved their voice. I loved what they were singing.
Yeah.
Like Cindy says, you find a truth that you can't go up. So my advice: listen to live music, listen to artists that you like, learn to play the piano. I mean, that's a great tool that you're going to use for the rest of your life.
And can save you money.
Save your money. Yeah.
Sure can.
Let's be real.
Get involved with groups that have the same, get involved with the CCP, or get involved with the choir, get involved, teach young kids. I mean, do something that is going to keep you in music. I was in music ever since I was 16.
Yeah.
One way or the other. And that's what the great thing about the Chicago Cabaret Professionals, CCP. You're not just a singer. You're also somebody there that supports other people, and you're there giving the applause
Right.
to other people, and you're the one that's saying, hey, you did a great performance, and it's all part of a big support group.
Right.
That really helps. And when you need music, you reach out on Facebook and you reach out on the CCP. You have any ideas of a funny song or a song about whatever, and it's a wealth of knowledge because there are more people. Yeah, learn how to. Another thing that I would suggest: learn where all the resources are for what you really love, whether it's cabaret or whatever.
Speaking of Chicago Cabaret Professionals, they have an event coming up on the 23rd. Is that correct?
Yes, John, you are correct.
Yes.
The Chicago Cabaret Professionals does produce 3 shows a year that are part of what they call their Musical Monday series.
Uh-huh.
And they usually have different themes. And Monday, March 23rd at the Rhapsody Theater in Rogers Park neighborhood on Morse Avenue.
Beautiful theater.
7:30
Great venue.
p.m.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is beautiful. There will be a show. There's 12 singers. I am one of them, so I'm very excited about it. The show is called Harmony, which is just so beautiful because we will be singing duets, trios, and I so excited because if you're not already part of a cabaret trio or duo, it can be kind of a solitary endeavor. And so I was when it came out, I was like, oh, I really want to be in the Harmony show because I just wanted to like blend voices and feel
Yeah.
that. So
Yeah.
I'm very excited about it. It's a very talented cast, and as I understand, there are still tickets available. So if you're curious, just Google Harmony Rhapsody Theater, and you'll find your way to the tickets.
Excellent. Thanks for that plug, because I will put the link for it in our show notes for this episode.
Thank you.
Before we wrap up, is there anything else the two of you would like to discuss or share with our listeners?
Well, there are 3 Musical Mondays. I'm not in Harmony. I'm not in the Tony Bennett one, but I'm in the last one, which is America.
250, right? Because we're celebrating 250 years
Yeah.
as a country.
So that will also be at the Rhapsody Theater.
Do you have the date of that?
Sure.
Well, if people visit Chicago Cabaret Professionals website, they would see all these dates on there.
Yes, they would.
They would see all
Yes.
the dates.
Perfect.
I know that the Tony Bennett one is in May. I don't know the exact date.
Okay.
I believe America 250 is in July.
Once we have the link in the show notes, people can link to all of them, and they should come to all of them because cabaret
Yeah.
here in Chicago is a thriving community. It's a wonderful art form that we're trying to amplify it a little bit, even though when I had Anna Mark on last week, they said Chicago Cabaret Week is really in May because there's lots of other things happening in March throughout the city. National Cabaret Month is March, which is why we chose to do this series this month. You're both such dear friends and family to me, and I'm so honored that you took some time out of your busy evening to chat with me here on the podcast.
So excited and glad to be invited. And I do have one final thing I
Please.
would like to just say, which is I invite people to support the arts, any kind of arts. It's necessary, I think, and especially during trying times. So I invite people to come out and check out any art form. Ballet, opera, I think are taking knocks lately.
Yes.
And if you haven't ever checked out a cabaret show, it really is a beautiful experience. And there are many different clubs, and I'll name a few, and I know I'm leaving some out, but like Le Piano is a jazz club that has cabaret nights.
Yeah.
On Tuesdays.
Tuesdays and
Tuesdays.
Sunday, early show.
So, yeah.
The Checkout, which is a new, actually classical music venue, and it's an old 7-Eleven that they gutted and turned into a performance space.
Where's
And
that?
they kept the
Clark and Southport.
what
Wow,
do they call them?
fantastic.
Slurpees or slushies?
Yeah.
That's
Slurpees
amazing.
Yeah.
Do they do Slurpees or slushies at 7-Eleven?
Slurpees.
Slurpees. So
Yeah.
they kept the Slurpee machine and do cocktails, and they've been very welcoming to
Brilliant.
the cabaret group. So you can find cabaret performances there as
Yeah.
well. And there are other places popping up around town where you can find our community performance.
Lighthouse Theater is another
Uh-huh.
one.
That's
The
so
Gateway
great.
Theater.
Gateway Theater.
Yeah.
Well, considering the loss of Davenport, it's nice to know that other people are sort of picking up the baton and running with it, because we need more of those in Chicago.
So where can we hear you sing, John?
Well, I'm in this little show right now at Drury Lane Theater called On Your Feet. That's running till March 22nd, the day before.
fantastic.
The
It's
day
a great
before-
show.
Thank you. And then my group, the Four C Notes, have a bunch of dates throughout the summertime and throughout the country for the remainder of the year. Once again, I want to thank you, friends, for being here. I really love you guys, and hopefully I'll see
We
you.
love you too.
We love you too, John.
We'll
Thank
be
you.
in the same airspace sooner than later. Thanks for joining us at the Chicago Theater Makers Podcast. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. The Chicago Theater Makers Podcast is a production of Spirit Art LLC, and our podcast theme music is by Paul Langford. If you or someone you know would like to be a guest on the podcast, please drop us a note at our website, shytheatermakerspodcast.com. That's CHITHEATER, makers with an S, podcast.com. We hope you enjoyed spending time with us as much as we enjoyed spending it with you, and we'll see you on the board soon.